Hey guys, Dalek44 here. I need no introduction, but I got one anyway. Is there anyone here who doesn't like South Park? I ask this question because I very rarely run into people who say they don't like South Park. It's become really popular since it first aired in the 90s. This American adult animated sitcom created by Trey Parker and Matt Stone has become very popular since the 90s and is still going strong today. It uses an animation technique that looks quite like paper cut animation, which was the same technique they used for classics such as Ivor the Engine. And while many other animated TV series such as The Simpsons and a bunch of others we don't need to mention have changed their animation style and updated it, South Park pretty much soldiered on as they were, just finishing their 17th season and working on their 18th. South Park has become a really popular show since it was first aired in the 90s. In fact, the first 3 seasons were so popular that they ended up making a full-length feature film based on the iconic series. And what we got was South Park, bigger, longer, and uncut. Bigger, Longer and Uncut was released on June the 30th of 1999 in the United States, and some other month in the UK, which I have no idea when it was. But it was basically a movie based off of the popular TV series. Now let's have a look at the story. The main characters Stan, Kenny, Kyle and Cartman go to the movie theatres to see Terence and Phillip Houses of Fire, which stars the boys' favourite Canadian comedy duo, Terence and Phillip.
Did you hear that, Terence? I found it! Yes, just now!
After their entry has been refused due to the film being rated R, the boys pay a homeless guy to accompany them in. And the boys learn a lot of absurd phrases in the film, a lot of them coming from the hit song Shut Your Fucking Face Uncle Fucker, which soon makes the other kids in the town want to see the movie. And after an incident where the kids swear at Mr. Garrison in school and get sent to Mr. Mackey's office for foul language, the parents of South Park are trying to ban the movie from their cinemas, and even get Mr. Mackey to teach them to stop swearing. But this plan doesn't work, unfortunately, as the kids go to see the movie again. After this viewing of the movie, Cartman bets Kenny $100 that he can't light a fart on fire. And after Kenny takes the bet, he ends up burning himself to death by lighting his fart, which gets him sent to the hospital, where the doctors somehow accidentally replace his heart with a baked potato, causing him to die. And as soon as that happens, the parents find out that the boys saw the movie again and ground them for 2 weeks, but they end up grounding Cartman for 3 weeks for some reason. At first it seems like Kenny's soul is going up to heaven, but he is refused entry because of using bad words and missing Sunday church to see the movie, so is sent to hell instead. And while he's in hell, Kenny learns about the relationship between Satan and the evil Iraqi dictator Saddam Hussein.
Yeah, man, I'm getting so hot. Let's fuck!
Do you always think about sex?
Back up on Earth, Carl's mum forms a group named Mothers Against Canada to place Terence and Phillip under arrest and then execute them for teaching their kids foul language. The Canadian government is seriously pissed off with the Americans' actions on arresting Terence and Phillip, so start an all-out war until they give them back, starting by bombing the Baldwin brothers. Sheila soon bullies President Bill Clinton into going to war with Canada and executing Terence and Phillip in an upcoming USO show. And while that's going on, Cartman tries to annoy Kyle with a song Carl's Mum's a Bitch, but is overheard by Sheila, and as a result is forcibly given a V-chip, which is kind of like a lie detector, except it gives you an electric shock when you swear instead of when you lie. That's a very clever idea, really. Back in hell, Satan declaims that if the blood of the 2 innocent Canadians touches American soil, it will be their time to rise and rule the world. And Saddam wants to go up to Earth with him, but Satan is secretly tired of being bossed around by Saddam since he's very abusive, which isn't at all like the real Iraqi dictator as far as I know. From beyond the grave, Kenny tells Cartman that if Terence and Phillip die, Saddam Hussein and Satan will rule the world. So the kids of South Park form a secret club known as La Resistance to save Terence and Phillip from their execution. And the whole film is just the kids trying to save Terence and Phillip from their execution in the USO show, and to stop Saddam Hussein and Satan from ruling the world. For the first and only South Park movie so far, I really do enjoy it to this day. This wasn't just the first South Park project I've ever seen, but it was also the first musical I've seen that wasn't made by Disney. I enjoyed it back then, and I still enjoy it today. One of my favourite parts of this movie is the Iraqi dictator Saddam Hussein, who is not the most realistic portrayal of the Iraqi dictator, but it's very memorable and hilarious. I mean, you wouldn't expect a gay lord with a high squeaky voice to be taken seriously.
Now, everyone bow down to me!
Saddam I'm the Dark Ruler, not you.
Relax, bitch. You gotta see that.
In fact, I think it's impossible to not laugh at Saddam every time you see him in South Park. Excuse me. Hello?
Did you miss me, Buttercup?
Oh, you again. I thought I told you never to call me again.
Come on, can we just go out for a burrito? Me gusta burrito mucho.
Piss off, you little homo. Sorry about that. I mean, every time I see him, I just laugh at him all the way through. But he's never comical to a point where he's a pathetic character. And I like how Satan is portrayed in this movie. It's basically showing that he's not really as bad as he puts on, it's just his job, and he's really quite a nice guy when you get to know him. Watching this film from the beginning to, like, the bit when Kenny goes to hell, you could almost treat it as an episode. Yeah, the first 20 minutes of this movie is actually like an episode of the show. So the first 20 minutes of this movie could have been like a 20-minute episode prequel which would build up to the movie, but they just put it in the movie. The animation in the movie is pretty much the same as they used in the show, except they have CGI elements in it, like fire, explosions, even most of the backgrounds of hell are CGI. And some of you may think that these animation styles won't work very well together, considering how it didn't work in the Top Cat movie, but surprisingly the CGI goes really well with the animation they used for the show in the movie. I mean, everything that you see that's in CGI, like the explosions and the fire and the majority of hell, are really good. They surprisingly really do blend well with the animation style from the show. And effects like the explosions and the fires and the majority of hell still look like they're really there to me. And the songs are really memorable too. It's got a lot of classic songs such as Mountain Town, Uncle Fucker, Sneezy and Cooing, Hell Isn't Good, which for some reason isn't on the soundtrack CD, that's kind of odd. Blame Canada, Cosmo's a Bitch, What Would Blind Boy Tonner Do, Up There, La Resistance, I Could Change, and I'm Super, which is sung by Big Gay Al. And my favourite songs from this movie are Uncle Fucker, Cosmo's a Bitch, What Would Blind Boy Tonner Do, Up There, and I Could Change. Those are just my favourite songs here. In fact, I loved them so much that I ended up getting the soundtrack CD before the movie. This movie also has a lot of funny quotes in it, such as,
Yeah, you like that, don't you, bitch?
as well as,
Let's kill off some goddamn Australians!
Well, I think we're fighting Canadians.
Canadians, Australians, what's the difference?
and,
Yeah, Canadians.
and of course who could forget this classic line.
You some people gonna die?
I suppose if I do have one nitpick about this film, it's the fact that some of the characters from the show don't get much screen time in it. I mean, yeah, we do get to see Ned, Jimbo, Mr. Garrison, Mr. Mackey, Chef, and a lot of the other characters. But have you ever noticed that characters like Officer Barbrady don't get much screen time in the movie? I mean, yeah, we did see him get to serve the army, but he barely has a line in this film. In fact, I don't remember one scene from this movie where he actually did speak. I mean, come on guys, couldn't you give him at least one speaking role in this movie? But that's just nitpicking, and it doesn't really come close to ruining this good comedy film. I never got to see this film in the cinemas, but I ended up getting the VHS version of it, and then later on the DVD. And I still love it to this day. It's still freaking hilarious. Yeah, I was introduced to this movie when it came out on VHS, because I never really knew about it when it was in the cinemas. In fact, I rarely knew anything about South Park back then. The only things I knew about it was Kenny getting killed off in pretty much every single episode. So I guess you could say that this movie introduced me to South Park properly. Yeah, it's true, if it wasn't for the movie I might not have got into South Park at all. If you haven't seen this movie yet, I definitely recommend it. You'll get a lot of laughs out of it. And Saddam Hussein will have you laughing all the way through, if you love people taking the piss out of Saddam Hussein. I got this on DVD I think last year, and I still enjoy watching it to this day. And between you and me, I tend to always rewatch the moments with Saddam and Satan in it, because those are my favourite parts of the film. Those are the moments that I always look forward to. So if you're a South Park fan and haven't seen this movie yet, definitely go check it out. It's got lots of laughs, memorable songs, and a whole variety of characters that everybody knows and loves. And if you're a hardcore South Park fan, it's definitely worth getting it on DVD. As I said, you'll get a lot of laughs out of it if you loved the show. So I would definitely go and watch it if you're a hardcore South Park fan. I'm Dalek44 and I'll see you next time. Hello?
Nah, come on, guys! Give me a break!
I keep getting my number.
Yeah, you like that, don't you, Dick?